Hi guys, it's Wednesday and we have had somewhat of a wacky schedule this week, but we're back on track and here is our ELA video for the week. This week we're going to be talking about problem and solution today. Okay? So when you think about the problem of a story, think about what goes wrong in the story. A problem is when something is wrong in the story. So here we see on this little poster, the boy is saying, I feel sad and all alone and I have no friends. So that's his problem. That's what's wrong with him. If you think about the solution, then you can think, how can he fix that problem? And we see there that his problem was that he was alone, and the solution was that he made a new friend. That's how he fixed his problem. So now we're going to look at 3 passages, and we're going to see if we can find the problem and solution in each passage. So, do you think you can be an problem-solving expert? Okay, do you have what it takes to be a problem detective? Can you read the passage and identify the problem? I don't hear you. Can you think of different ways to solve the problem? Can you think of a way to choose the best option? Okay, if so, you're ready to help me be a problem-solving detective. Okay, so the first passage, the lost puppy. Amy has a 6-month-old puppy named Milo. Milo is a small dog with a black body and a white tail. One day, Amy came home from school and could not find Milo anywhere. She asked her dad for help, and they got in the car to drive around and look for Milo. They found Milo at the park a couple of streets away. The next day, Amy's dad built a fence in the backyard. Now, when Milo goes outside, the fence keeps him in Amy's yard. She always knows where to find Milo now. Okay, now let's look at this passage. In this passage, there are 2 problems. What do you think those 2 problems could be? And then there are 2 solutions. Okay, so let's make a chart. So the first problem, what do you think the first problem could be? Yes, Amy couldn't find her dog Milo. That's the first problem. And so how did Amy solve that problem? Pause the video and repeat. How did Amy solve that problem? Tell me how. Yeah, to solve that problem, her and her dad, they ride around to look for Milo. That's how they fixed that problem. Okay, now there still was another problem in this passage. What do you think the next problem was? Yeah, Milo got out of the yard when he went outside. That's how he got lost, because he went out of the yard. So how did they fix that problem in this passage? You got it. That's exactly right. Her dad built a fence around the yard so that he wouldn't get lost again. That's exactly right. Okay, let's try another passage. Betsy and the bump. Betsy loved to play on the playground. She likes to swing so high that her feet touch the clouds, and she rides on the seesaw with her brother. Betsy's favorite part of the playground is the tall slide. Betsy was trying to walk up the slide yesterday and slipped. She bumped her head and it hurt a lot. Her brother ran back to the house and told their mom. Mom came out to the playground and gave Betsy an ice pack to put on her head. The ice pack helped Betsy feel better fast. Okay, now pause your video and read this passage over and then see if you can find the problem and a solution to that problem. And remember, the problem tells us what? Yeah, the problem tells us what is wrong in this story. And the solution tells us what? Yeah, how to fix the problem. Okay, so read that passage again. So what is the problem in this passage? What was the problem? Let me hear you say it. Yes, Betsy bumped her head while she was playing on the slide. So she bumped her head while she was playing on the slide. And how did Betsy solve that problem? What happened to fix that problem? Yes, her brother went and got Mom to help her. So she bumped her head and she needed help, so her brother went to go get Mom. Now, there was another problem in this passage also. Can you think back? What was another problem? What else was wrong? Yeah, Betsy's head was hurting from her fall, so she hurt her head when she fell. So how did she fix that problem? What was the solution to that problem? You got it! That's right. Mom gave her an ice pack to make it feel better. Give yourself a pat on the back because you're doing a great job. Okay, let's try our final passage. Luke forgot his lunch. Luke's teacher told everyone to get their lunches from their backpacks and line up. Luke walked to his backpack and looked inside, but his lunch was not there. He must have left his lunch on the counter at home. When Luke got to the cafeteria, he told the lunch lady that he forgot his lunch at home. She went behind the counter and got him a bread and cheese sandwich and an apple to eat for lunch. Luke was happy that he was able to eat something for lunch. He would have been hungry if he did not eat. Okay, pause your video and read it again and see if you can tell what is the problem in this passage. What's the problem? Think to yourself, what does problem mean? And then see if you can find what the solution is and think to yourself, what does solution mean? Okay, let's try it together. So what was the problem? That's right. Luke forgot his lunch at home on the counter. So how did he fix the problem? How was his problem solved? Yes, the lunch lady gave him a lunch to eat when he went with his class. Perfect. Okay, now we're going to read a story called The True Story of the Three Little Pigs. And on your Zoom call with your teacher, you're going to talk more about it. Okay, so The True Story of the Three Little Pigs by A. Wolfe. Everybody knows the true story of the three little pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because nobody has ever heard my side of the story. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf. You can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. Hey, it's not my fault wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think you were big and bad too. But like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. This is the real story. Way back in Once Upon a Time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold. I ran out of sugar. So I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. Now, this neighbor was a pig, and he wasn't too bright either. He had built his whole house of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in his right mind would build a house of straw? So, of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't want to just walk into someone else's house, so I called, little pig, are you in?" No answer. I was just about to go home without the cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. That's when my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming on. Well, I huffed and I snuffed and I sneezed a great sneeze. And you know what? That whole darn straw house fell down. And right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time. It seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying there in the straw, so I ate it up. Think of it as a big cheeseburger just lying there. I was feeling a little better, but I still didn't have my cup of sugar, so I went to the next neighbor's house. This neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not much. He had built his house of sticks. I rang the doorbell on the stick house. Nobody answered. I called Mr. Pig. Mr. Pig, are you in? He yelled back, "Go away, Wolf. You can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin chin." I had just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great sneeze. And you're not going to believe it, but this guy's house fell down just like his brother's. When the dust cleared, there was a second little pig, dead as a doornail. Wolf's honor. Now, you know how food will spoil if you just leave it out in the open, so I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling a little bit better. And I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. So I went to the next house. This guy was the first and second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains of the family. He had built his house of bricks. I knocked on the brick house. No answer. I called, "Mr. Pig, Mr. Pig, are you in?" And do you know what that rude little porker answered? "Get out of here, Wolf. Don't bother me again." Talk about impolite. He probably had a whole sack full of sugar, and he wouldn't even give me even one little cup for my dear sweet old granny's birthday cake. What a pig! I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake when I felt my cold coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I sneezed once again. Then the third little pig yelled, "And your old granny can sit on a pin." Now, I'm usually a pretty calm fellow, but when somebody talks about my granny like that, I go a little crazy. When the cops drove up, of course I was trying to break down this pig's door, and the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a real scene. The rest, as they say, is history. The news reporters found out about the two pigs I had for dinner. They figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting, so they jazzed up the story with all of that huff and puff and blow your house down, and they made me the big bad wolf. That's it. That's the real story. I was framed. But maybe you could loan me a cup of sugar? The end. Okay, guys, so now you're going to go and take an AR quiz if you need to, and be sure to check your Canvas to see what you need to do next. Talk to you later. Bye.